I want to tell you about the time that I was in a car accident and I was head on with a bread truck. Now, this was in 2008, and it was in Colorado, where the snowy, blizzardy kind of weather is very prominent in the wintertime. And I was driving to work, and I remember getting on the highway, and I was merging on the highway. And because there was so much snow and ice, I was going maybe like 35, 40 miles an hour on this, the merging lane. And when I got onto the merge lane, right when I got onto the highway, I could feel my car sliding. And I immediately was like, uh-oh, because my car started, my car started doing this, right? And there were 3 lanes of traffic, or 4. And I'm on the merge lane, which is like the 4th lane. And my car spins out of control this way and it hits the medium. And then I came back this way, and instead of going that way, which I originally was, I was going now this way, and I was facing head on with a bread truck. And I cannot tell you how terrifying that is, but it is terrifying. And all I could say was, oh God. As soon as I said, oh God, I grabbed onto my steering wheel, and my car flipped one more time, putting me back over on this side of this medium over here, closest to where I started on the off-ramp road. And I'm telling you, I was petrified. I was so shook up. I remember calling my boss, and I was more concerned about being late to work than I was about like what had just happened. And I said, hey, we had an in and out board, and I said, hey, can you mark me out on the in and out board? Because I just got into a car accident and I'm gonna be late. And my boss's response was, where are you? I'm gonna come pick you up. And so see, you get like, I was shook up, and you can hear that in a person's voice. But I didn't think I needed to be picked up. I don't know what I was thinking. I just did not want to be late for work. And so anyways, my boss came to get me. My car ended up being totaled, and I ended up getting a different vehicle. But I wanted to share the story with you because there is so much power in calling upon the name of Jesus Christ, calling on God. He said in his word that he would be our ever-present help in time of need. And can I tell you, from that accident, although my car was totaled, I came out of there with hardly a scratch at all. The only thing that happened was because I grabbed that steering wheel so hard, this pointer finger had to go in one of those little finger splints. That's it. I could have been killed that day. It was just traumatizing. And I remember just going through the whole process, and it was such a God thing. He truly turns things for your good. He works all things together for your good. So during that process and that time, I remember going back to work, and I had to set up and schedule a rental car. And I was a single mom raising 2 kids on my own at that time. And I remember praying and saying, Lord, what am I gonna do? And literally, as soon as I got back to the office, and I sat down at my desk, and I was kind of, shook up, the owner of the company came over and asked, what happened. And I said I was getting, setting up the rental car and this and that. And I said, they don't want to give me a rental car unless I pay $1,000 deductible. And so that the owner went back to their office or whatever, and then literally within 5 minutes they came back, tossed a check on my desk for $1,000 and said, go and take care of business. And I was like, like, I can't pay you back right now. I don't know how I'm gonna pay you back. I'm a single mom. Like, $100 a month extra at that time was like miraculous. And I didn't even have that. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay you. And the owner said, don't worry about it. I'm telling you this because it was God's provision. And even though it was scary and traumatizing to a certain degree, I didn't have any problem getting back on the highway right away, but I know some people that may have, that might have traumatized them to a point where they don't want to drive ever again. But it was still traumatic and it was still frightening, and all I remember from the whole situation was a few things. One is the power of calling upon God's name. And then number two is relying on him as your ever-present help in time of need, because before I could even freak out, he already had it resolved. There was already provision made for me to get my car paid and get the rental car and get my car, established and fix whatever I had to do. It was already taken care of. And for me, when God does what he says he's gonna do, it just draws me that much closer to him. And those are the things that I remember from that situation. So I just want to make this really short video to encourage you today to call on the name of God, Jesus Christ, the one and only God. Not just any God, but the God, the one whose Son rose from the dead, the one whose Son is not buried in his tomb any longer, the one whose Son was seen by over 500 witnesses after he rose from the dead that testify that he rose from the dead. That God. I want you to call upon his name today and trust that he also will catch you just like he caught me, and he catches me over and over and over. He'll do the same for you.